You guys seem to hate this car because of what I've done to it, but I prefer not to look at the negatives. I'd rather look at the positives. I guess you could say I'm an optimist. So let's take a look at some of the positive comments about this car. Nope, not that one. No, yeah, definitely not that one. Well, no, that's not, nope, nope, not that one either. Nope, yeah, no, well, not that one either. Look through some, no, well, not that one either. Well, Mr. Selleck, I have some good news for you. I'm not gonna make you wait 2 years. We're gonna do it right now. In this episode, I'm gonna install this much larger and quieter Schlond Poofa. I feel like I need to explain myself a little bit here. I think I've done a terrible job of describing to you, the viewer, what my intentions are with this car. And I could see how you'd be really upset to watch me strip out the interior, and I agree with some of the comments that the exhaust doesn't look as good as it could. I also prefer cars with full interiors, especially with working climate control. But that's not what my intention is with this car. Let me explain.
Yeah, I mean, so it's really not that bad. I mean, when you think about it, it's really not that bad. Okay, when you're on throttle, it's absolutely impossible. But I really haven't explained my intentions with the car, and that's on me, that's my fault. So the car's not meant to be a street car. It's meant to be a track car that I can drive on the street. So yeah, it's not gonna be ideal on the street, especially when you have to get on throttle a little bit. It definitely gets pretty loud, but it's supposed to be a car that I can take to the track without having to tow it. That's kind of the main idea. It's a track car, but not one that you have to like baby and trailer and deal with all that. It's still, you can technically drive it to the track. Somewhat of a miserable experience, yes, but the intention of the car is track duty. It is such a good car, such a good chassis. The power is super linear. It's really fun to drive on track, but I want to be able to still drive it to the track. That is my goal. Albeit, it's a little tough with the exhaust being so insanely loud. So maybe we need to work on that, but I'm still driving it on the street and I'm not getting pulled over yet. It is currently 42 degrees outside in Fahrenheit, which is, I don't know, 7 Celsius or something like that, and about 700 Kelvin. And it's so it's pretty cold. There's snow outside. Yes, I'm wearing a hoodie, but it's not cold in the car. I've got Cam here in the passenger seat. He is wearing quite a large coat, but Cam, would you say, does it feel cold in here?
Not that bad.
No, yeah, it's really not that bad. It feels like a 70-degree car in here. Last time when we went to VIR, we drove it to VIR. We didn't have to trailer it like I do with the EK. And boy, I gotta tell you, it's so much more convenient to drive your car to the track. This car is rear-wheel drive, manual, and a really good chassis. It's just fun to drive on track. That's what I want to use the car for.
Okay, so with that goal in mind, I will admit, the exhaust is too loud. I didn't intend on it being this loud. So let's go ahead and change that out, but without sacrificing the performance of this car.
You all right, boss? Did you fall? You okay? Sir, can you hear me?
I can't get up. I can't get up. I'm stuck.
Schlond Poofa. It says Sean. Who's Sean?
I don't know.
It's a Schlond Poofa.
It's a what?
Schlond Poofa.
Schlond, not Schlond.
There, Schlond. Schlond. Okay, so as you can see, it's not necessarily a straight piped RX8, but it's pretty close. And this muffler has no packing material in it. Generally speaking, the bigger the muffler, the more it's gonna do for sound. And also packing material in the muffler goes a long way. And this has neither size nor packing material. The hater pipe. I literally am just gonna wing it. I don't know how the math works on doing this stuff, so I'm just gonna cut, tack it in place, and then cut and tack it, and we'll just see what lines up where. I'll have to actually measure, but that looks pretty even. Going off of this dot here, kinda. It'll work.
If you're ever wondering if you could learn how to weld, you can. It's very easy. What's hard about it is welding correctly. Every time I weld, I go through a roller coaster of emotions. It's one of the hardest, easiest things that I can do. 1 minute, I feel terrible.
I'm such a bad welder. I'm such a bad welder. Hello there.
And then the next, I'm high on endorphins.
I'm the greatest welder that's ever lived. Absolutely massive undercut on that, but you know what? It's combined. it's just a tack, okay? It's just a tack. Don't judge me by my tacks. This was a mistake. I've made a grave error, but it's technically tacked there. I got 3 on that one. I wanted to have 3 because that's a lot of weight, you know? Like if I take this off, will it even hold? Got ourselves an exhaust. Yes, sirree. Do you think the people in the comments would like me for this or not like me for this? We could do that, which actually doesn't look that bad. What if we did a turn up? That would be the equivalent of what it was before, which you guys didn't like. Okay, another option. Maybe try to get it a little bit quieter. Yeah? No? Well, you don't like that either? All right, fine. All right, I saw the comments that said I should do a triangle on the tip. Well, I don't really know how I'm gonna do that, but I bought this little miniature vise because I'm going to attempt it, okay? And if it looks terrible, then it's just gonna look terrible. We got a lot of other tip options we could pick from, but I'm gonna try to make a triangle by bending some pipe. I looked that up to see if I could find a triangle tip, and I couldn't find anything, but you know, maybe I'm bad at the internet. So we're gonna try to make it ourselves with just a vise. I think that's it. That's a triangle. So now I just gotta cut it at the right length and weld it on. Okay, so the exhaust is fully bolted up, very firmly mounted. There is a flex joint further up. So this actually doesn't move that much because the pipe has a little bit of flex up there. But that's nice because that means we can get the pipe to fit up with the bumper a lot better, which it currently does not do. There's a huge gap here, obviously, but that's because I had removed this and also another trim piece that used to go across here from the factory. I didn't want to cut this piece because that's like a permanent thing. Everything that I had done up to that point was not really super permanent, but now it's kind of permanent. So I'm sure all you guys are gonna hate me in the comments for this, but I'm gonna cut this piece to fit nicer around that. I am gonna give it a little bit of a gap because I know this is gonna get hot. This is not a double wall pipe, so I do expect the pipe to get pretty hot, especially doing on-track stuff. So I'm gonna give it probably an inch buffer around the pipe, but we're gonna put that up on there. I do think that's gonna make this pipe look a ton better because it'll blend it in there much nicer. And then once I have that piece up, then maybe I'll work on that black trim piece as well, just to have basically the entire bumper assembly back in. And then we have some more surprises coming for you, but let's go ahead and do this one first.
Before we get to those other surprises, let's check to see if this new setup even works. Will it be quieter or make no difference at all? Like Ben with his S2000, we recorded some decibel readings before the change, and then we'll take a look at how those readings compare now.
$117.
60 mile an hour test. We're cruising at 60, what are we at?
94, it was pretty stable.
Dude, say what you want. It's pretty cool at wide open throttle. Okay. Significantly better. It's definitely quieter. Let's go ahead and do a decibel check. We're on 60 miles an hour right now. So let's see how that compares to before. It's like 5% throttle.
Yeah. 86?
86. So we're down 8. Down 8 decibels at cruising speed. That's pretty good. No, I would cruise on the highway all day long and not. I wouldn't even feel like a nuisance to other people, which before I definitely felt like a nuisance to other people. Wasn't a big fan of that, but you gotta do what you gotta do to get to the racetrack. But now it's like, shoot, it's actually not that bad. Second gear pull. You ready?
Highest was 102.
Dude, 102? What was it before?
111.9.
Okay, so we pretty safely cut 10 decibels in the car anyway. Okay, well, I cannot believe it, but turns out when you put a bigger muffler on a car, it gets a whole lot quieter. So that's pretty cool. I'm very happy with that. Albeit the old muffler was basically non-existent. It was like the smallest thing I could ever get. So maybe that's not surprising to you, but it's surprising to me. The car is super quiet, and I'm super happy with that, at least for what the car is. I do think that the triangle thing is kind of cool, but it's still a little off, don't you think? Don't you think it looks a little bit, not quite right? It's way better than it was. Still not quite right. And I think a large part of that is because of these things, these little holes where the factory exhaust went. Not a big fan of that, but I don't really have many options on fixing that. My original thought was get a 3D printer and like make a plate that goes there, but I don't have a 3D printer, so I can't really do that. But do have a good idea on how I can cover this while adding some performance to this car: a rear diffuser. Rear diffusers are actually super complicated. You might have seen them on the car before where they kind of stick out in the back and they've got these little veins. That's usually just on this bumper portion here. But a proper diffuser will go all the way back, and I'm gonna go all the way back to the axle line because that's where a lot of these class rules say that you can make a diffuser. And if I'm gonna take this thing to different events, I'd like to be able to, compete in those classes. So I'm gonna make it up to the rear axle area. So quite a large area of the car. You're not gonna see as much of it from behind the car, but underneath the car, it's huge. And there's a lot of math to do to figure out the angles of things and the way that the airflow goes into it and where the air is cleanest and where it's dirtiest. And you get weight coming off the tire, so you gotta put a little skirt here to protect that. And there's a lot to it. So I am consulting my friends at Professional Awesome, and they are helping me with the math side of things. And I'm just gonna work on the construction side of things. And I'm gonna start off with some cardboard, basically make a full cardboard diffuser. Once I've got that figured out, then I will start actually putting the proper diffuser together. But I have a feeling there's gonna be a lot of cutting and a lot of weeping and gnashing of teeth. But I'm super excited because I have wanted a diffuser for a very long time. I wanted to make a diffuser. I think diffusers are one of the coolest looking things on a car. So yeah, I'm doing it, dang it. And I don't care what you think. So yeah, this might look like a car you've seen in your high school parking lot so far, but this is the first step. This is CAD. This is cardboard here, obviously, and we're using this to mock up the angles and stuff because it's a whole lot easier to cut up cardboard than it is to cut up metal. Then, once we're done with all of the cardboard mock-up and we have basically what we want, but out of cardboard, that's when we just start taking these pieces off and cutting metal in the exact same shape and then putting it on there, and then we'll have a metal diffuser. I don't know, man, that's so cool. I've made these angles a bit more aggressive, but it's tough to measure the exact angle with cardboard because it's so floppy. So I'll have to get the angles more precise with the actual sheets of aluminum.
I'm curious to see what everybody else thinks of this.
I feel like you're either gonna love it or hate it. Mm-hmm. And knowing the history on this car on the channel, I think everyone's gonna hate it. I love it. And Cam, the cameraman, is actually leaving, so the next couple of shots that you're gonna see are gonna be all on tripod. I'm just gonna set the tripod up, and we are gonna get cutting metal.
Yay!
For probably the next 15 to 35 hours.
we are using sheets of aluminum for the vertical vanes, but for the flat surface underneath the car, I'm actually gonna use this aluminum composite panel, which is like a Lumalite. It is lighter than aluminum, but should be just as strong. That's because the rear diffuser is already getting kind of heavy. The weight center of the car is lighter in the rear, so we're helping actually compensate the weight balance. It'll actually be a little bit better, but ideally we make it as light as possible. It's taking a very, very, very long time to do this. And we might have bit off more than we can chew. If this video isn't that good, it's because we didn't have as much time on the edit because we were spending all our time working on the car.
Fabrication.
This might actually be heavier than the aluminum.
So we got both sides of our ducting done. We still have the middle to complete, but before we complete the middle, we need to take care of this edge here. You see it's kind of floppy. It needs a little bit more securement so it doesn't flop around. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tap into one of these brackets up here, and then I'm gonna make a bar that comes down and it's gonna hold this bottom side. It's pretty rigid just on its own. And as soon as I add another bracket in place, this thing will, you know, essentially not wanna go anywhere.
That didn't work. Ah! Ah!
Ta-da!
Okay, so the diffuser is now structurally complete, but we do still have some extra changes to make. This is way too sharp. Not only is it gonna cut my feet off when I'm walking around it, or I'm surprised it hasn't hit any of our heads as we've been making it. So I wanna round the end of the diffuser here a little bit because again, this is a car that I want to drive to the track. So I'm not gonna be trailering it up and all that and taking all care of it and everything, which means I'm gonna have to be driving it on the street to get to these tracks. And you know, when you go to the gas stations, you gotta go up steep angles sometimes, and I do not want this scraping and bending. It shouldn't affect the performance, and I have seen a ton of other cars that do have diffusers on them, and they round the bottom of the back there. So we'll do a somewhat of a small rounding. I'm not gonna go crazy with it because I do still want it to be as functional as I can. All the angles and everything are all meant to be functional. And yeah, it's not as functional as it would be if I had a flat floor, but almost no class rules allow flat floors. But this will still help a ton and add a lot of rear downforce, and also looks super cool.
Hey yo, this is dumb.
I think this looks great.
I didn't like the process in doing this, obviously.
No, yeah, we're not done yet either.
What? We're not done.
What?
What?
It needs to be painted black.
It doesn't need to be painted.
It really-
Nobody's gonna care.
No, it needs to be painted black.
I think you just like watching me work.
That'll make it look a lot better. If I don't paint it black, everybody in the comments is gonna tell me about how bad it looks and how I ruined the car.
Well, they're still gonna tell you that.
They're gonna be like, you didn't make the diffuser in the shape of a triangle. I can't believe missed opportunity, so.
That would have been a good idea, actually.
Well, let's take it off and paint it, and maybe you can make the triangle diffuser.
All right, Ben, I'm gonna go home.
Think diffusion thoughts. Yo, you checking out that stance? Buddy, this is the coolest thing I think I've ever done. I can't believe that actually like holds together. I thought this thing was gonna be super floppy. This is freaking cool. Are you kidding me?
All right, I guess it is kind of cool.
Should we weigh it? I feel like we should weigh it.
I mean, we probably should.
Let me go get the scale.
see how many pounds that we put back onto the car after the pounds that we took off of the car.
Functional weight,
199.6.
18 pounds.
All right, so we added 18 pounds to the car.
We added 18 pounds to the bottom of the car in the back where we made the car the lightest. So we're actually helping the balance more. Huh?
Well, I guess I gotta get to painting this.
Diffuser is bolted up. I think it looks amazing, but we're not done yet, even though I want it to be, and it visually looks done. The seams here are still not airtight, so it'll be a whole lot more functional if air can't actually pass through all of these cracks. So we're gonna use windshield adhesive because it's basically black silicone and also very durable and thick to make sure we plug up these gaps on all of the seams. But I'm so thrilled seeing this. Did I go too big? Is this diffuser too big? Comment below what I should do next, or if this diffuser is too big, or if you like the diffuser. If you don't like it, don't let me know.
They're gonna let you know. Most of these
don't have to
people,
do
they're
that.
gonna let you know that they don't like it.
Well, here it is.
Yeah, there it is.
Do you think this is a good thing or a bad thing?
I personally think this is horrible.
You think this is bad? Like, look, seriously though, seriously.
I mean, seriously, it's cool.
Ah, okay, all right, yeah.
Seriously, it's cool.
It is pretty cool. I think.
But I wanna agree, you know, with YouTube and just, you know, bash you like crazy. So
Okay.
I'm on their side, and they know that. So
All right, cool.
we like giving Ben Thorne a hard time.
We got a triangle exhaust. It's significantly quieter, way more comfortable to drive. However, when we put this diffuser on and I stepped back and looked at it and realized it's very big, I might have gone too aggressive with it. I went as far as the bumper is, so, you know.
So let me get this straight, all right? You made the car more functional because, you know, you lowered the decibels,
Yeah.
make it a more fun, drivable car on the road. Then you put this rear diffuser on, and you ruin all that.
Yeah, that is correct, yes.
All right, makes sense. That's the Thorne, motto?
That's the Thorne way. It looks better though, right? Doesn't it look better? Do you think that it looks better?